Hi, Quentin Brown here with you from Web Marketing for Profit and Digital Magazines. What we're going to do is show you how to make the cover of your magazine. Now, if you're going to get really particular about all the colors and everything, then you can go off and get a graphic designer to do it for you and pay them between $200 and $500. However, what we're going to do is show you how you can do your own very easily without knowing a lot about Photoshop, but we do have to use Photoshop. So as you can see up the top here, I've just typed in free magazine covers PSD. And the PSD on the end is a Photoshop file, which means it has layers. So I've gone through a few here, just having a look. And I quite like this blue one. And here it is, showing you exactly what it looks like. So I'm just going to download this one. Came in a zip file, so I unzipped it. So I'm just going to open it now. And here it is here. And I'll put some different ones in the resources for you. But once you see how easy it is to do with this one, you'll be able to do all sorts of things. And when it opens, quite often it'll say that there are fonts missing because we don't have the particular fonts they used in the magazine. However, we can just use the ones we do have on our computer. Now you'll notice over on the right here, it has all the layers. So we can turn these layers off to see which bit goes where. And it's also written here. So if you don't want that hand in there and you wanted something a little bit different, we can go and open a file and I'll show you how to put it in there. So I'm just going to open a new file. And you see shopping ladies. I'm just going to use my control button and A to select all. So I could have gone here, select all. You'll see the shortcuts here next to the command. Then control and C to copy. As I said, control and C, control and V to paste. If you're on a Mac, it will be command C, command V. And now we can just paste those girls using our control V into the magazine. As you can see, because the magazines are all built around A4 or US paper sizes, the graphic may be a little bit smaller and you need good graphics to put in here. I just transform that. I'm going to hold my shift key and then drag so it keeps the orientation. And then apply. I don't want this one here, so it says contest winners. So that turns that one off. So as you can see, just in a few minutes, I've changed the whole layout of this magazine. We could turn off the back there, change this cover, add some new color to it. But just for now, I just want to show you how by using layers, you can really quickly make a good magazine cover. You can also replace the background. So if we don't want that blue, we want something a little bit different, just go and look up free background PSD. And you'll find a whole lot of backgrounds you can use for your magazine as well. Plus lots of different files in PSD all ready for you to use. You could also use some templates for websites, all sorts of things. So let's just go and open up another file and let's have a look at the backgrounds here. So here it is. It's got all the layers again. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to create a group to put all these in. So here's our group. So then what I'm going to do is just drag all these across. So I'll just move that down here and use my zoom to make it smaller so I can play with it a bit better. I'm going to click on this one and just hide the background, which is here. And I'm going to bring all these across and put them in. It's just a matter of dragging it across. I can now close that, and you'll notice because I had my button on the group, they all came across. I'm just going to move that across here, use my edit and transform and scale it out. It's over the top of the girls, so I'm just going to apply that click apply, and then I want to drag this group down. So I just hold my mouse and drag it down so it's behind. And I can turn on and off different elements within the file as well. So as you can see, I'm starting to change the whole outlook of the file. Let's bring the other one across and show you. Let's create group 2, open another file. And again, I'll just drag it down, minimize it so I can use it better. Just holding on my mouse and dragging. And so this one has quite a lot more. Just going to highlight the top one, go down to the bottom, hold on my shift key and click. I'll go into this one and just cancel that and just drag this one across. I can close that. As you can see, it's put all these in its own group. And if you just double click on the group, you can rename it to whatever you want. So we'll call this one bubble, just so we know what they are. Okay, so we've called it bubbles. We just go to edit and transform again and scale it just by dragging our mouse button again. So there we are. What we've got to do now is just change some of this text. So just highlight it. And we don't have that particular font in our computer, but we'll just allow it to substitute. Click up here in the color. And we could use our color picker. Let's use some color from the girls' bags. Use our text tool again. Maybe change that to black. So as you can see, in just a few minutes, we've created a whole different look for our magazine. A couple of other magazines covers, and we'll put these all in the resources for you. See how they work so you can use them rather than having to go and get them yourself. So if you're going to do a techie magazine, it's already, once again, all layered. You can see they do it a little bit different. They've grouped them all already for you. To find out what does which, click on the eyes to turn them on and off. And here's one we used for our magazine. So this is a good one. Once again, we could take our ladies, go Control V, edit, transform, scale, hold on to my shift key, click on the arrow and apply, and then I can just move them around. So as you can see, very easy to do. Now I want to change that color, so let's go get a nice orange color. Use our paint bucket. We've got a totally different style again. I just used my paint bucket to get rid of any black, etc. So now we have this color. You see it's got a lock on it. So one way we can fix that up is we'll just create a new, get rid of that layer, and we'll just get a whole new layer. Now we can get rid of that background with the lock on it. We can use a gradient overlay, and so here you can see by using a gradient overlay we can do a whole lot of different effects. So as you can see, you can change the way your magazine looks very easily. It's just in the resources, I'll supply you 52 transparent images with these people in them that you can use. You always want to use a transparent image. So we're just going to close that and just go and open up our blue magazine. And I'm going to make a magazine for a product that we sell called QR codes. And so I'm just going to go through now and design this magazine. Now remember, I don't have this font, so I'm just going to go QR. I'm just going to highlight this font and change it. Just pick a font that you want. Arial. Now once again, I can either use this to change it or just use my transform. So I'm just going to use my transform. I don't want this information up the top, so we'll just get rid of that. I'm going to change digital edition. So I'm just going to change this to, I don't have that font again. Transform that. Just move that QR codes across a little bit. I can now add a layer style, drop shadow. So I'm basically just going to go through and just change some of the text to make my magazine cover. And I'll come back and see you soon and you can see what I've done. Now, before I go back, let me just go over and review because we've used some tools and basically you're just going to use those same tools over and over again. So in the edit, we use our transform scale to either move things around or change their sizes, etc. So we can scale it exactly how we want. We can also use the rotate if we want to move things around a little bit as well. So let's just use our hand and go edit, transform and rotate. So we can rotate that around however we want. Once you've done any of these functions in the edit, you must hit the move tool to finalize it and go apply. I'll just move him over a little bit, just using my arrow keys for fine positioning. Now if your text is a little bit out, we use this tool here to push it closer together, to widen it, to move it around. And we can actually type in here as well. We used our text tool also to add color. So we might make that a orange. We can use our image tool to resize an image. However, we tend just to use our transform. And that's basically all the tools we use. There are a few other tools here you can work on. However, by moving various layers around, we can change the whole effect and get a really nice looking magazine cover with very little work. Basically, just by using the template and the information they have inside, we can create a magazine cover. Once we've finished, we just go into File. I like to save the file as whatever the name of the magazine is. Then we can also save for web devices. Quite often they're big files, so you'll just say yes. It will take a little while to compile. But as you can see, the quality is very high. Usually we'll make it into a JPEG. So usually about half a meg to 3/4 of a meg is good. Just check that that's still reasonably good quality. I usually find between 60 and 70 is good. And so this is going to be the biggest file in your magazine. Most of the magazines we create are going to be around 15 to 20 pages, so they'll only be about 2 megabytes, which is usually all right to download for a tablet. Lots of the magazine companies, their files are like 150, 200 meg. People just aren't going to want to download that onto a tablet. So our files will usually end up around the 2 meg size. So I'll just quickly go through and finish making my magazine, which will only take me a couple of minutes. I'll come back and show you, we'll save it, and then we'll go on to producing the magazine. Hi and welcome back. So here's my magazine cover. It'll be about 15 minutes. I went out and got a nice image of a QR code reading a wine bottle. I changed the colours of the header text. I just filled in the information here for the text just by highlighting it. I used my character a little bit, and I used my layer tool just to put a bit of drop shadow on my tracking. Probably just use those 5 to 6 tools over and over again just to create a nice magazine cover like this. One other place you can get great covers is from a site called Graphic River, and this is part of Theme Forest, and you can see you can get all sorts of magazines covers here for just a few dollars. So then you can get a much more niche specific cover. As you see, they come already in the right size. They have the PSD files with well organized layers. And so this is another great place you can get magazines covers very cheaply. If you want to do a youth magazine, so it's just another place you can get magazine covers.